Some ancient texts are just weird. And the book of Ezekiel, it's right up there at the top of the list. It's packed with bizarre creatures, spinning wheels in the sky, and some pretty intense prophecies of doom. For centuries, people have struggled to figure out what to do with it. But it turns out, nearly 1,800 years ago, one of the sharpest minds in early Christianity found a timeless and deeply personal message hidden inside all that strangeness.
So, that's the big question, right? You've got this book, it's from a totally different world, written during a crisis that happened millennia ago. How in the world do you bridge that gap? How do you make these ancient, confusing words actually mean something for us, here and now?
And this is where the genius comes in. The big idea was to stop looking outward at history books and instead to look inward. What is this whole epic story about a nation's collapse and exile wasn't just about them back then, but was actually a spiritual drama playing out inside every single one of us. To really get how radical this new way of reading was, we first have to understand the book on its own terms. So, what was Ezekiel actually writing about in the first place? You have to picture this. The historical setting is an absolute catastrophe. The prophet Ezekiel was literally watching his world end. His city, Jerusalem, was destroyed. The temple, the very center of his universe, was gone. His entire way of life was just obliterated. So the book itself is this incredibly harsh diagnosis of all the sins that led to this disaster, and a confirmation of his darkest warnings to a people who are now refugees. It's a tough read, for sure, born from immense suffering. So, how do you solve a problem like Ezekiel? How do you unlock a text that's so tied to its tragic time and place? Well, enter Origen of Alexandria, a 3rd century theologian who decided to take a completely different path. And listen, this wasn't just some random guy with a wild theory. Origen was an absolute intellectual superstar. His peers literally called him the second master in the church, right after the Apostle Paul. That's how big of a deal he was. So when Origen offered a new way to read the Bible, you can bet people paid attention. So what was this revolutionary idea? Well, it all kicks off with one central game-changing metaphor that unlocks everything else. Okay, so you can look at Ezekiel in 2 totally different ways. On the left, you have the standard historical reading. It's all about a literal city, a specific temple, and a real group of people in history. But then, look at what Origen does. He just flips the whole thing on its head. Suddenly, Jerusalem isn't a city on a map, it's your soul. The destruction of the temple, that's what happens to your soul when it falls into sin. And Babylon, the land of exile, that's not a place, it's a state of inner confusion and vice. The prophecy stops being about ancient Israel and starts being about you, right now.
And this one line just hits you like a ton of bricks. It sums up his entire idea perfectly. Origen says, because when we sin, we are that Jerusalem which is destroyed. Wow, just like that, he collapses centuries of history and makes this ancient disaster feel immediate, personal, and happening right inside of us.
So using this new map, Origen charts the soul's whole story. It begins, he says, just like Jerusalem did, as something beautiful, created in the very image of the Creator. But then sin comes along, and it strips the soul bare, leaving it naked and abandoned. And it's that act of sin that exiles the soul, sending it into that spiritual Babylon, a state he literally defines as confusion. The real villain in the story isn't a Babylonian king, it's Satan. Now, for Origen, this state of exile isn't some passive, sad condition. You're not just sitting around feeling bad. No, it's an active spiritual war zone. It's an inner battlefield, and it's populated with specific enemies you have to confront. And he pulls this incredible imagery right from the pages of Ezekiel. The enemies within your soul, all those false ideas that lead you astray, he says they're like foxes in the desert. So what on earth does he mean by that? He's talking about false teachers. For his audience, this meant heretics, people promoting doctrines that he believed were destructive and would actually trap the soul instead of setting it free. And it's a perfect metaphor, right? Foxes are sly, they're wild and untamable, and they sneak in to cause ruin. And their primary weapon is just fascinating. It's not some grand theatrical evil. It's simply promoting moral laziness. Origen uses another one of Ezekiel's amazing phrases. He says, "They sow cushions under every arm." What a great image. It's all about making people comfortable in their vices, encouraging them to just get idle and chase pleasure instead of doing the hard work of spiritual growth.
So this inner battle is happening inside every individual. But Origen zooms out and applies the same reading to the whole community of believers, to the church itself. And let me tell you, he has a very realistic, almost bracingly honest view. He compares the church to a threshing floor, where you have both the grano, the good wheat, those are the true believers, and the pula, the useless chaff. That's the sinners, the hypocrites, the uncommitted. And as you can see, he definitely didn't think the chaff was just a tiny minority. And here's the crucial point. Origen says this messy mix is part of the design. The church is like a giant net that catches all kinds of fish, good and bad. It's not our job to sort them out right now. That, he says, is a task that's reserved for the judgment of God at the end of time. Okay, so if the soul is in exile, lost in this state of confusion, how does it get back home? What is the path out of Babylon and back to the restored, beautiful Jerusalem? The entire goal of the spiritual life, according to Origen's map, is transformation. It's all about shedding the oldness, the wrinkles and baggage of sin, and returning to that pristine, youthful beauty the soul had when it was first created. It's a journey of restoration. And Origen lays out the practical steps. First, you have to acknowledge you're in exile. You have to recognize your own sin. Second, you have to actively fight those inner enemies, those foxes. Third, you have to set aside all other models and choose to imitate one person and one person only, Jesus Christ. And finally, through that imitation, you work to rebuild and restore that original, beautiful image of God within your soul. And this all leads to his most stunning, powerful conclusion. The ultimate goal of this entire journey, the very purpose of restoring the soul, is this: God wants to make of us so many Christs. It's just an incredible vision of human potential, not just to be saved, but to be completely transformed into the very image of Christ. So we're left with this final thought. Origen took an ancient, difficult, and frankly bizarre book and turned it into a dynamic map for the inner life. So what if we applied his method to our own lives? If we started to see our moments of confusion as periods of exile and our personal struggles as battles on an inner battlefield, could it reveal a deeper, more profound meaning in our own journey?